Accessing library computer data.
I'm Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the USS Enterprise. No, as you can see, my name's John. I'm bald, I am English like Patrick Stewart, and I actually do have the Enterprise D model. Now, welcome to the first episode, introduction, which is a vlog, a video diary of my journey from the Enterprise D model in parts to a representation of the studio model used in Star Trek The Next Generation TV show / film. Now, why did I choose the Enterprise D? Well, like most of you, you grew up watching one of the franchises from Star Trek. It could have been the original series, The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Enterprise, and for The Next Generation it would be Star Trek Discovery. Now, I grew up in the 90s as a kid to a teenager, and so it was about that time I got into season, I think it was 4 or 5 of Star Trek The Next Generation. And I fell in love with the model, not just with the model, the TV show, so much so that it actually dictated what I wanted to do in my career, and I ended up being a model maker in special effects. But this was quite a strange time, because by the time I got out there and started working as a model maker, it was the late 90s, and what happened in the late 90s? CGI exploded with Jurassic Park and The Matrix. Even though CGI was around for years, it became really popular in the late 90s and then onwards, which meant that model making kind of dried up as a career choice. However, I didn't stop model making, and I carried on model making personally and enjoyed it. So much so that I made 4 of these models. When I say made 4 of these models, so if you remember the first, I think the first Ertl was a company which made the Enterprise D model, and it was made from a duck egg blue plastic, which you had to carve out the windows if you wanted to light it up. And being a kid, as you can imagine, inexperienced, didn't have a clue about electronics or how to wire up anything, so much so that I ended up doing very stupid things, such as using Christmas tree lights, packing the model with Christmas tree lights, and then watching it slowly melt it away. Also, another thing that was kind of silly, I got hold of a fluorescent tube, got a hacksaw, and carved into the fluorescent tube to make it fit into the model. It kind of did fit into the model, but in pieces as it exploded in my hands. Anyway, as you can imagine, every time I failed, I just gave it a rest for a couple of years and made another Enterprise D model, always learning and getting better. But this was at a time where we didn't really have as many resources as people have today. We've got YouTube, we've got forums, we've got so many other avenues to be able to learn and get references to be able to make our hobby even better. And that's exactly what I'm doing with this vlog. I've got enough knowledge, experience, scars, burns, and also confidence to be able to actually make my Enterprise D. And when I say my Enterprise D, what Enterprise D do you want to make? Do you want to make or mimic the one from Star Trek The Next Generation when it was a 6-foot model? It's huge. Or do you want to make the smaller version of that? I think it's a 4 or 5-foot version. Or do you want to make the one in Star Trek Generations where they repainted the one from the TV series? It's up to you. So make your Enterprise D. And that's what I'm going to do. So this is going to be a mashup of the detail and the lovely colour scheme of Star Trek Generations, and also some of the details from Star Trek The Next Generation TV show, where there's so many angles you can actually see that beautiful model. You can see what lights up, and you can see all the windows and what navigation lights blink. It's a fantastic resource. Anyway, that's another episode. I'm going to concentrate on the background of why I'm doing this video. Now, my role model is Adam Savage. Now, some of you may know him from the TV show Mythbusters, and by trade he's a model maker in the special effects industry, and he had the privilege of working at a great time in the 80s and 90s on models for Star Wars and also the Matrix films and so on and so forth. However, the reason why I bring him up is because he had a passion project which very, very similar to what I have with the Enterprise D, but instead of Star Trek, it was for him Blade Runner. Now I've given you the link below with this video, and you can see what I'm on about. When he went to watch the film Blade Runner, he just had this passion to make Harrison Ford's blaster, the gun he uses. And I think he made several of those as well. I think about 4 or 5 of those blasters through the years, getting better and better each time. One was slightly oversized, one was too small, one didn't have enough detail, and then eventually in his later years he made his exemplar, his perfect blaster. And he was lucky enough to be able to compare it to the actual stage prop, and it was incredible, the detail, like for like. I couldn't even tell watching the video. And essentially that's what I want to do with my Enterprise D. When I take pictures of the final result, I want people to just think, actually this looks exactly like the TV or movie version, but I'm going to add a few more Easter eggs into that model, but I'm not going to give that away just yet. That's for a later episode. So what are the challenges? Well, as I said, I've got so much access to all the great resources on YouTube, on specialist forums, on the internet as a whole, as well as Blu-ray DVDs. Anyway, that's on another episode of the resources, because I'm going to go into a lot more detail how you can actually find all that out. But the challenge for me would be the electronics. Now, when it comes to electronics, I would say I'm electronically dyslexic. I burn myself so many times, get positive mixed up with negative, red and black wires. I'm a disaster. However, with a lot of research and also with loads of electronics out there which are so easy to work on, I'm now super confident. With a few more tests before I made this video, I know I can actually do this with a little help with a friend, but we'll go into that for another episode. So you've got things such as LEDs, which actually have built-in resistors, such as those LED strips, or you've got the Arduino boards, which you can program lights to blink and do all sorts of magical tricks for your model. And with that, you can make your model come to life. And that was a pivotal point for me, because I saw what my model could be, and I saw other people doing very similar things. However, I found model makers who are fantastic at painting but not good at electronics, great at electronics but not particularly good at model making. And so what I want to do, I want to get every single one of these elements and bring them all together and put it into this model right here. So thank you for joining me. If you do want to follow my vlog, please do. I will post one up every time I've gone a step into making this model. I'm not too sure if it's going to be weekly or monthly, but if you subscribe onto my YouTube channel, or if you continue to look at the forums and websites I post this video up on, you can follow me as and when. Again, I'm trying to make this very user friendly, because I went through so many pitfalls of like, okay, this model maker shows how to do something but not in great detail because their hand's in the way, or they filmed it in black and white and I don't know what wire should go where, or and it gets a bit of a nightmare. So I want to make this as user friendly as possible for you, and for me it's nice to look at it in retrospect of how I made this model and be kind of proud of what I've made, so I can actually show people that anyone can make a model great. That's it for introduction. I've got another episode coming up soon, which is going to be called Resources, because there's nothing more important on a project like this than research, research, research. I mean, it's so important that afterwards, when you finish your model, the last thing you want to do is look at it and go, I've got something wrong, I've got the paint scheme wrong, or that light's meant to be over there. So we will go in great detail about the resources, and I will actually provide you with great links, great pictures and great advice about this specific model. And also those links will actually help you in other models as well, because once you know how to make a starship, you will be able to make any starship after that. Okay, so anyway, so this is going to be my official sign off. I think I'm going to play around with this. So Picard tucked down. This is Captain John Child of the USS Enterprise D. The model.
Library computer data.